Welcome along to the Army List Analysis series, and we continue by looking at armies in the late Antiquity period. This is the second video for this period. I've done about 28 videos for classical and also around the same for High Middle Ages. So I'm just starting with LA, and this is the Palmyran 258 AD army. Quite a mixed army, quite an interesting army, because we have got Roman legionnaires and Cataracts, which is quite a combination. As you can see, we don't have that many units in terms of selection, types of units you can take out. But what you do have, the Cataracts, the Roman legionnaires, good quality medium foot, and the light horse archers, really some of the best units in this period, I would say. There would be, I've just started doing a top 10 for classical. I've done one for High Middle Ages, but I will get around maybe in a month or two, maybe once I've done a few more videos for LA, I will produce a top 10, but some of these units would be in that top 10. Cataracts, even though I've been quite critical of them, we're going to look at some of the stats in a minute. They're still pretty good, so they would be up there. Legionnaires would be up there, and probably light horse archers as well. Now, if you saw the video that I did yesterday, I was looking at the Roman 197 AD list, and I talked lots about legionnaires, so you can click and have a look at that video for more detailed info. But suffice to say that the Roman legionnaires are absolutely awesome in LA. They beat 95% of infantry on impact. I was reeling off the figures. There were 150 up against defensive shield wall. There were 100 up against picked Scots foot. Sassanid foot, there were 150 up on impact. Dismounted lancers, 125 up on impact. Machimoy pike, 75 up on impact. And basically, it's a lot. So they've got a great chance of disrupting units on impact in LA. I would argue, this is what I said yesterday, they're stronger in LA compared to classical because the infantry is weaker in this period. It seems more cavalry based, and there's more average quality infantry, medium foot, and more cavalry. So the Roman legionnaires, and we can bring 6. They're absolutely awesome, and 6 is quite a number. Now, coming from classical and even High Middle Ages, I'm used to having more infantry. We don't actually have that much, do we? We've only got 10 units, and 4 of those are the medium foot. But in LA, it's okay. Infantry, the size of and how many units you have in your army is just going to be less than what you're used to in classical. In classical pike armies, I had 17, 18 infantry units. Romans was more like 20. But in LA, it's more like half that, or 12 even or so. That's okay. The medium foot, I talked about these units yesterday as well. They're actually pretty good because they're light spear, so they're pretty good against cavalry on impact. But the other advantage is that they are armored. Now, I made a small mistake yesterday, which I did correct in the comments. They actually get plus 50 for armor, not plus 25. So they are quite good because you've got your light spear plus that 50 for armor. So they can do well even against infantry in the open. Okay, if they lose combat against cavalry or infantry, then they've got that -1 modifier. But overall, they are pretty decent troops because they can fight in the rough and they can hold their own on the open plains. So this is a nice mix here. We've got a nice mix of really good infantry and then these cataphracts. Now, the cataphracts, if I look at my notebook with all my stats, let's zoom in a little bit. Cataracts actually got a bit of a boost in one of the last patches, or a patch that came out, I don't know, a few months ago. And so now they're a little bit better than what they were. And when I looked at the actual POA, they did great on impact against almost all infantry, especially swordsmen. They're up 50 against warbands on impacts, 50 against imitation legionnaires, evens against superior warband. Hastati, they're 25 up. Legionnaires, they're even, and they're only down against veteran spear, and that's only by 50. And then once in melee, they are up against all of those infantry units. They're up against hoplites by 100. They're up against warband by 150. They're up against imitation legionnaires, 150, and they're evens against pike. And then they're 100 up against superior warband even. So actually, they're not down against any infantry at all from what I was testing, apart from the pikes where they're even. So that is pretty awesome. They got boosted a little bit. So they actually do well against infantry on impact and in melee. And that is very important for this kind of army, because we've got, at the moment, I've taken 8 out. So I need them to do a job for me. And going by the stats there, they are going to do a good job for me. And there is quite a lot of swordsmen. There's a lot of warbands, imitation legionnaires. There's probably less spear than in classical, and less pike, definitely, compared to classical. So that should mean that these cataphracts can actually do quite well. They're ably supported. Now, this is a really nice addition for this list. Now, even though we've only got seven different types of units, we've got the essentials, because the light horse archers are fantastic backup. You know, we don't need any lancers or veteran cavalry or anything like that, because we've already got 8 cataphracts. They can do great against cavalry, and as I've just said, they can do great against infantry. So we just need some light horse to, you know, annoy the enemy, disrupt enemy cavalry, while we can use our cataphracts on the infantry. Probably we're going to, I would say, at least keep a good few of them in the center and use them on infantry. We don't want to be running around on the flanks wasting our time, because, you know, at 68 per unit, you don't really want to be running after some cheap lancers, light lancers, or noble cav, really. I mean, yes, 1 or 2 units you might want to do that, but yeah, this is where this light horse archer contingent can really help, because it can just, you know, keep the enemy cavalry occupied. You can maybe use a couple in support to destroy the cavalry or keep it off you, while your legionnaires and the rest of your cataphracts do the business. So it's got a great potential, I think, this army. We don't have that many skirmishers, not in my build, but I guess, you know, you can take a lot more there. So maybe if you wanted to take out some of the medium foot or a cataphract or something, you could add more skirmishers. And as you can see as well, you can take up to 12 of the massed eastern archers. So for some armies, maybe cavalry heavy armies, you want to take more archers out, you can do that. So it really, even though it's very limited in what you can take, it's got the essentials there. That's what I always say when I'm looking for flexibility. Can I take out more archers, skirmishers? Yes, I can. Can I take out more cav? Yeah, I can take out 2 more Cataracts if I wanted. I can also take out 2 of the Roman cavalry, which isn't good, but at 40 it's cheap. So in addition to Cataracts, maybe could be useful. And I've still got space for more light horse archers. So it's pretty decent army, I think. Messing around with it, what was I looking at? Perhaps we could, if you wanted maybe another Cataphract, we could take out some medium foot and one of the skirmishers, and we can add in yet another unit of Cataphracts, which takes us to 9 Cataphracts, 6 legionnaires, and 3 of the medium foot. And then if you really didn't want that, because I mean, you can, even though we don't have a lot of foot skirmishers, these light horse archers they're just like mounted skirmishers, so you could use them to chase away the enemy skirmishers. They're quite useful for doing that. So then with the 16 points, we could take out, bring back our medium foot. So maybe some players would do that. Maybe they take 9 Cataphracts and you've still got 10 infantry. And with all these horse archers, maybe you don't need 4 skirmishers. So quite a nice list. Records. I was having a look in the league. There are 6 divisions in LA this season, season 12, and interestingly, this list has the most top places compared to all of the other armies in LA. There's 3 players. They're all in the top 3 in their division with this army. Eric, he's in Division A, very hard division, and he's got 3 wins and 4 losses. So a lot of players, they're good players in that division. So it's hard to have a really good record. So let's see how he finishes the season. He's got 2 games left, but he's holding his own at the moment. Badger is doing much better. I think he might be in Division E. He's finished and he's on 6 wins and 3 losses, and he's at the top in his division at the moment, number 1 spot. I think Shane is second in his division and he's got 5 wins and 1 loss. So that's some pretty good stats there and record there for this army in LA this season. Overall, the record isn't so great. It's 39%, but as I was mentioning in classical period and in High Middle Ages, most armies are around 45 to 50. That's about the average, because you've got to take into account everyone is taking these armies out, and when the records are put together, it's collating, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So for everyone that's taken this army out, it's 39% win rate. And yesterday the Romans were on 38%. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on this. Maybe the winning percentages are pretty low for a lot of armies in LA. We'll see. But they're at the moment they're 1% better than the Roman 197 list. So let's see as we progress how that compares. But anyway, this season players are doing quite well with this army, and I think it's because of that combination of the Roman legionnaires, the Cataphracts, and these light horse. That it's just a great combo. You can get dirty with the enemy infantry. Go in. These are like they smash through most of the enemy infantry in this period, and the Cataracts as well. They can do a job. I would say with the Cataracts, you're hoping that they disrupt on impact, or that they get some good rolls in the first few rounds of melee, because if they can get stuck against infantry, so if they're still fighting infantry after, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 rounds, that's when, you know, their size, they're only on 240, so infantry will be double the size. So really, you're hoping they do well in the first few rounds of combat. What is my rating? I'm going to go about a B+. I'm going to go about a B+. If we had a few more legionnaires, I think that would be key, or even other heavy infantry, because we just dropped, don't we? We've got legionnaires and we dropped to the medium foot. If we had a few more heavy foot units, maybe that would be really helpful. But as I said, you know, a lot of the armies in LA, they don't have that much infantry, so maybe that's enough. And you know, we've got some really good quality medium foot, so with the armor, so maybe that's okay. We are hoping that the Cataracts pull through. It can be a bit hit and miss, but you know, with this fairly recent buff, maybe Cataracts are better now. It'd be interesting to hear from people, actually. Let me know what you think. Do you think Cataracts are performing well now? I didn't play in LA this season, so I'd be interesting to hear from players who played against this army, or any of those players that I mentioned. I might send them a message actually in the forum. We might get someone to comment and let me know what they think of this army. But for me, it's about a B+ and a decent army. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again soon.